What if I told you that most people today are living in quiet defeat? Not because they don't have opportunities, but because they lack mental strength. We live in a world of endless scrolling. We compare ourselves to others. We envy their highlight reels. And then we wonder why we feel stuck, weak, or lost. We chase comfort at every corner, yet somehow feel exhausted. We avoid pain, yet we suffer daily. The truth is uncomfortable. Comfort is slowly killing us. Struggle, though harsh and unpleasant, is where real power is forged. And here's the twist. The ancient Stoics knew this long before smartphones, social media, or self-help gurus existed. They faced wars, plagues, betrayal, and the brutal realities of life, yet still found ways to remain unshaken. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome and one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's not just a quote. That's a weapon, a mindset, a way of living in chaos while remaining grounded. Stoicism doesn't promise to make life easy. It trains you to become unbreakable. In this series, we'll break down 8 brutal Stoic laws that, if applied, will level you up mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. These aren't motivational slogans. They're raw truths tested in the fires of ancient Rome, and they're still painfully relevant today. But before we dive into the first law, I want you to take this seriously. Don't just consume this like background noise. Engage with it. Reflect on it. Because even one principle missed could cost you strength, clarity, or courage when you need it most. Law number 1. Embrace discomfort like a friend. We've been taught all our lives to run from pain. When something feels uncomfortable, avoid it. When something is hard, delay it. But the Stoics flipped that idea on its head. They taught that discomfort isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. Think about your greatest moment of growth. Did it happen when everything was smooth, easy, and relaxing? Or did it happen when life punched you in the face? When you were forced to choose between rising up or staying broken? Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, sickness, and the constant pressure of war. Yet he led with calmness. He didn't avoid discomfort. He let it mold him. He believed that the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That's not poetic fluff. That's a law. Every obstacle is a chance to sharpen your will. Every rejection is a lesson in resilience. Every delay is a test of patience. Modern society tells us, avoid pain at all costs. Stoicism whispers back, train for it. That cold shower you don't want to take? It's not just water, it's training your mind to lean into what's hard. That difficult conversation you've been avoiding? It's not just awkwardness, it's your chance to grow in courage. That gym session you want to skip when you're tired? That's not just exercise, it's where discipline is forged. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort. Seneca, another great Stoic, slept on the floor, wore rough clothing, and ate plain meals. Why? Not out of self-punishment, but to train his mind and body for hardship. Because when life takes away your comforts, and you won't panic. You'll be ready. Here's the truth. Avoiding small pain today only guarantees bigger pain tomorrow. But if you lean into discomfort now, you stop fearing it. And when you no longer fear pain, you begin to taste freedom. From today, see discomfort like a sparring partner. It might bruise you, but it will build you. Choose one act of discomfort daily. A cold shower, a deep talk, sitting in silence, fasting, or pushing through boredom. This is how warriors are forged. Repeat this affirmation to yourself. Discomfort is my training ground. Law number 2. Stop being owned by your emotions. How often do your emotions dictate your actions? Someone insults you, you explode. Plans change, your mood crashes. You feel lazy, so you abandon your goals. If you live like this, you're not free. You're a slave to your emotions. And the Stoics believed that slavery to emotions is worse than any physical chains. Epictetus, once a slave himself who became a Stoic teacher, put it bluntly, any person capable of angering you becomes your master. They can anger you only when you permit yourself to be disturbed by them. Let that sink in. That driver who cut you off. You gave them your peace. That breakup? You gave it your identity. That rude online comment? You handed it your joy. Stoicism doesn't demand that you ignore emotions. It teaches you to observe them, understand them, and respond with reason rather than impulse. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, wrote in his private journal, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." That's the kind of control Stoics valued, the control of the mind. Here's the brutal part. You can't blame others anymore. You can't say, "He made me angry," or "She ruined my day." Your reaction is always your choice. That's confronting, but it's also empowering. Because if your emotions are yours to manage, then your strength is always within reach. Next time you feel triggered, practice this. 1. Pause. 2. Breathe. 3. Ask, is this emotion useful right now? If the answer is yes, act with intention. If no, let it pass. This isn't about becoming robotic. It's about being grounded, steady, unshaken. In today's world where emotions run wild, that kind of stability is rare. And it makes you magnetic. True growth begins the moment you stop being a puppet to feelings and start becoming their master. Law number 3. Stop expecting fairness. Here's one of the fastest ways to suffer. Expect life to be fair. You work hard, but someone else gets the promotion. You love with all your heart, but the other person walks away. You do the right thing, but still face betrayal. And then you spiral into anger. This isn't fair. But Stoics didn't cling to fairness. They faced reality. Marcus Aurelius himself, ruler of Rome, admitted, "You can commit injustice by doing nothing." He saw injustice daily, but he didn't collapse under it. Instead, he built resilience. The Stoic approach wasn't to expect fairness, but to build strength regardless of it. Life is not about fairness. Life is about power, the kind of power you cultivate inside yourself. Here's the hard truth. Bad things happen to good people. Evil people sometimes win. Effort doesn't always equal reward. That's not negativity. That's reality. And what separates the weak from the unstoppable is this. The weak complain and wait for fairness. The Stoic acts with dignity no matter what, building an inner fortress no one can break. Seneca said it clearly. Sometimes even to live is an act of courage. When life treats you unfairly, don't waste energy sulking. Use the pain as fuel. Build skills so undeniable that no one can ignore you. Love deeply but without expecting repayment. Walk forward with dignity when betrayed. The Stoic law is radical responsibility. Not because everything is your fault, but because it's always your move. You can't control how life hits, but you can always control how you rise. And before we continue, if you're serious about growing mentally and spiritually, hit the like button, subscribe, and follow so you never miss these lessons. This is not background noise, this is your training ground. Law number 4. Focus on what you can control. Let go of the rest. One of the greatest Stoic truths is deceptively simple. Your power lies only within what you can control. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." Think about the amount of energy we waste daily, trying to control other people's opinions, obsessing over the future, complaining about things already outside our reach. And then we wonder why we feel anxious, powerless, and constantly disappointed. But what is truly within your control? Your thoughts, your choices, your actions, your response to what happens. Everything else? Not yours. You can't control the weather, but you can control how you dress. You can't control whether people like you, but you can control how you treat them. You can't control the economy, but you can control how much you learn, save, and prepare. This shift in focus is massive. It's the difference between being a victim of circumstances and being a captain steering your own ship. Imagine being caught in a storm at sea. The untrained person screams at the wind, curses the waves, and panics. The Stoic? He grips the wheel and navigates. He doesn't waste time on what can't be controlled. He directs all energy to what can. Here's a practice. Every time you feel stressed or angry, ask yourself one question. Is this within my control? If yes, act. If no, let it go. It sounds simple, but living this daily is what makes you calm when others panic, focused when others complain, disciplined when others drift. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself constantly, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's the ultimate key. Strength doesn't come from controlling the world. It comes from controlling yourself in the world. Law number 5. Practice voluntary hardship to build unbreakable will. We live in a world addicted to comfort. Endless entertainment, food on demand, air conditioning, soft beds, and quick fixes for everything. But comfort has a cost. It weakens the will. The Stoics knew this, and they didn't wait for life to get hard. They chose hardship on purpose, not to suffer, but to train, not to punish themselves, but to prepare for storms. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men of his time, deliberately practiced poverty. He would set aside a few days to eat the plainest food, wear rough clothes, and sleep uncomfortably. His question to himself was, is this the condition I feared? He was reminding himself that even if wealth vanished, even if comfort disappeared, he would survive. His will would remain. This practice is called voluntary hardship, and it's one of the most powerful Stoic tools for building mental strength. Here's how it can look today. Fasting for 24 hours to prove you control your appetite. Not the other way around. Taking a cold shower when your body screams no. Refusing a luxury you can afford just to sharpen your discipline. Waking up early to train even when the bed feels like heaven. These are not punishments. They are training grounds, because life will eventually hand you hardships you didn't choose. Loss, rejection, betrayal, failure. If you've trained your mind through chosen hardship, you won't break. The truth is, you don't build willpower by watching motivational content. You build it by leaning into discomfort again and again, until struggle becomes normal. Marcus Aurelius lived through wars, plagues, and constant betrayals, and yet he remained calm. Why? Because hardship didn't shock him. He expected it. He trained for it. When hardship is expected, it loses its power to paralyze you. Instead, it becomes another challenge to rise through. So here's your challenge. Stop asking, how can I make life easier? And start asking, how can I make myself stronger? Law number 6. Detach from outcomes, fall in love with the process. We live in a results-obsessed culture. Did you get the promotion? Did your project go viral? Did you hit the perfect body in 30 days? And when results don't come fast, people quit. But the Stoics understood something deeper. The outcome is never fully in your control, but your process always is. Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Results depend on too many variables outside of you. You might train hard and still lose the game. You might love someone and still be left. You might build a business and still face failure. If your happiness is tied only to outcomes, you'll always feel fragile. But if you fall in love with the process, the training, the learning, the showing up, you always win. Even if the result isn't what you expected. If you're a writer, write not to go viral, but to sharpen your craft. If you're an athlete, train not just to win, but to master your body. If you're building something, build not for applause, but for pride in your effort. Here's the irony. When you detach from outcomes, you often achieve more. Because you're no longer desperate, no longer anxious, no longer obsessed with external validation. You're grounded in the present moment, giving your best now. Marcus Aurelius said it beautifully. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. That means stop obsessing over what might happen. Show up with discipline today. Do the work, whether or not the results come quickly. Detach from the finish line. Master your stride. That's how you become unshakable. And don't forget, if this message is hitting you hard, if you know you need more of this in your life, Hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs it. Together, we're building a community of warriors who refuse to be fragile in a chaotic world. We've already gone through 6 brutal, Stoic laws that separate the fragile from the strong. 1. Embrace discomfort. 2. Master your emotions. 3. Stop expecting fairness. 4. Focus on what you can control. 5. Train with voluntary hardship. 6. Detach from outcomes. Now we arrive at the final 2. These are the hardest, most confronting truths of Stoicism. If you take them seriously, they will shake you. But they will also free you from the chains most people never escape. And before we continue, if these Stoic laws have spoken to you, if you want to become unshakable in a world that thrives on weakness, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and follow. Let's build a movement of disciplined, resilient minds together. Law number 7. Remember death, memento mori. The Stoics had a phrase they repeated often. Memento mori, remember you will die. At first, this sounds dark, even depressing. But for the Stoics, it wasn't about fear. It was about clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Why obsess over death? Because it is the one fact of life no one escapes. And yet most people live as if they will never die. They waste time. They hold grudges. They chase trivial things. They live distracted, not realizing how short life really is. When you meditate on death, you stop wasting time. You stop postponing your life. You stop being owned by petty concerns. If today were your last day, would you still argue over meaningless drama? Would you still scroll endlessly, chasing distractions? Would you still be afraid to speak your truth? Or would you live with urgency, with focus, with gratitude for every breath? Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." The reminder of death is not meant to paralyze you, it is meant to awaken you. To remind you that life is not guaranteed, but right now is. That's why the Stoic doesn't delay. He doesn't wait for the perfect time to act, to love, to pursue virtue. He knows tomorrow is a promise, not a fact. Here's the brutal truth. One day your name will be spoken for the last time. Your possessions will belong to someone else. Your body will return to dust. But what you did with your brief time, your courage, your character, your contribution, that is what will echo. So remember death, not to fear it, but to live fully while you have life. Law number 8. Live for virtue, not for approval. If you want to be unstoppable, you must free yourself from the prison of other people's opinions. Most people are slaves, not to chains, but to approval. They live for applause, validation, and the approval of crowds. But the Stoics taught that the only true measure of a life is virtue living in alignment with wisdom, justice, courage, and self-discipline. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Simple, brutal, liberating. Think about how much of your life is shaped by fear of what others think. You don't chase a dream because people might laugh. You don't speak your truth because you fear criticism. You don't stand for what's right because it's unpopular. This is not freedom. It's slavery. The Stoics flipped the script. Live by your values, not by the crowd. Do the right thing because it is right, not because it gets likes or applause. Epictetus warned, if you wish to improve, be content to appear foolish and stupid. In other words, stop trying to look good. Start trying to be good. Living for virtue doesn't mean you'll be popular. In fact, it might make you unpopular because most people prefer comfort to truth. But it will make you free because once you no longer need validation, no one can control you. Here's the core Stoic formula: courage when afraid, self-control when tempted, justice when dealing with others, wisdom in all choices. If you build your life on these 4 virtues, you become untouchable. People may criticize you, mock you, or ignore you, but your inner compass remains unshaken. That's what makes you unstoppable. You are no longer moved by the tides of opinion, only by the strength of principle. Closing, the 8 brutal Stoic laws. Now you know the 8 brutal Stoic laws that will make you unstoppable. 1. Embrace discomfort. 2. Master your emotions. 3. Stop expecting fairness. 4. Focus only on what you can control. 5. Practice voluntary hardship. 6. Detach from outcomes. 7. Remember death, memento mori. 8. Live for virtue, not approval. These are not just ideas to think about. They are practices to live by. And when you live them, you stop being fragile, anxious, and easily broken. You become calm in chaos, steady under pressure, and unshakable in the face of life's storms. The world doesn't need more fragile egos. It doesn't need more people chasing comfort and applause. It needs more warriors of the mind. People who live by principle, not popularity. People who embrace discomfort, face death without fear, and stand firm in virtue. So here's your choice. You can scroll past this, nod, and forget. Or you can take one law today, practice it, and begin the transformation, because Stoicism isn't about what you know. It's about how you live. And if you're ready to live like this, if you're ready to stop being fragile and start becoming unstoppable, then don't just watch. Take action. And while you're at it, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. That's how we spread strength in a weak world.